when I first got contacted by World Series of Fighting, Joey Varner, who does the post-fight interviews and some of the commentary for World Series, he texted me, and it was plain and simple, hey, do you want to fight for WSOF? And I think I stared at my phone for probably a solid minute, just kind of looking around like someone was playing a joke on me at first, but responded back, yes, absolutely. And they asked me a couple more follow-up questions like, do you want to fight Jimmy Spikuza? Yes. Can you sell tickets? Where's the fight's going to be? In Vegas. Yeah, I can sell tickets. They're like, okay, yeah, we're going to send you all the information as soon as possible. Great, let's do it. I mean, it was a very smooth, just very short text message conversation. Like, do you want this to happen? Yeah, let's go for it. Fighting for World Series of Fighting is huge for me, man. This is a big step up from where I was competing before in my first few pro fights. I've got a lot of respect for World Series and what they've done in such a short amount of time with their show. I think they put on fantastic fights. I think the production of the show is amazing. I've been to a few of their live shows. It's always been a good time. Got a lot of respect for World Series of Fighting President Ray Sefo, who I actually had the opportunity to train for his last MMA fight, doing his strength and conditioning. I mean, so just it's a nice big step up for me. It's a chance for me to kind of get out on a bigger level, on a more nationally exposed level, and just kind of show people what I'm made of. You know, being in a position where I can start getting a lot of attention on myself if I just put on a solid performance is it's motivating, man. You know, I'm always motivated to go out there and put on my best performance anyway. I'm not the kind of guy who just likes to fight to a decision. I fight to finish. I've proven that in all my fights so far. Only 2 of my fights in my professional and amateur career combined have gone to a decision, and those fights that went to a decision were grinders. You know, they weren't boring fights by any stretch of the imagination. So I know if I go out there and I perform to the best of my abilities, it's only a matter of time before people know exactly what I'm capable of and what kind of fighter that I am. You know, I'm fighting Jimmy Spikuza March 29th, and I've known Jimmy and who he is for years, and he's known who I am for just as long. We came up in the Tough Enough organization out here in Vegas as amateurs. We were supposed to fight each other several times as amateurs, and for whatever reason, it just never materialized. You know, it was just a missed opportunity that happened 2 or 3 times, and we've actually spoken to each other about how we always wanted to fight each other. It just, the opportunity was just, it wasn't the right time, or you know, we got offered it as a pro fight in our last pro fight, the money wasn't right, and you know, we've spoken to each other about the opportunity to fight each other. It's something I know we've both wanted for a while. It's something that I know we were waiting for a bigger show, a bigger stage, a better payday, and right now World Series is giving us all of that. Pretty much. So I mean, World Series of Fighting I think is the perfect place for this fight to happen. I got a lot of respect for Jimmy, man. I know he's a grinder. I know he's a tough guy. I've seen his fights. I've been keeping an eye on him, and I always knew fighting him on paper at the very least, I mean, this is going to be my toughest fight to date. You know, so I'm making sure that I'm training hard. I'm doing everything I possibly can to be ready for this fight. I know he's doing the exact same thing. It's going to be a damn good show, man. Getting ready for this fight, you know, most of the stuff that I do stays the same, but there is a couple things that I did do differently training for this fight. The first thing that I went and did differently is I hired someone to do my meal prep for me. I found this woman through a mutual friend of mine named Cindy Lai, who does meal prep for athletes, for bodybuilders, figure competitors, things like that. She preps all my meals, 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. I supplement it with my protein shakes and bars or what have you, and it's easy, man. I mean, everything gets thrown in the freezer, all vacuum sealed. I just pull out the next meal and eat it. I don't have to think about what to eat. I don't think about how much to eat. I don't have to measure anything out. I don't have to go grocery shopping anymore. She drops all my meals off to me 1 week at a time, and it's just a load off my mind and one less thing that I have to worry about. Another thing that I did is for this fight, I had a colleague of mine. I work as a strength and conditioning coach at Xtreme Couture, and I know a lot of other strength coaches and trainers here in town, and I actually hired a friend of mine to do my strength and conditioning for me. Out of the 11 fights that I've had so far, I did my own strength and conditioning for all but 2 of them. And I've proven that I can get myself in good shape for a fight, but I just know that for a fight like this, fighting in World Series, fighting against a tough guy like Jimmy Spikuza, that I wanted to make sure that I was doing everything as best as I possibly could. I wanted to make sure I was being pushed as hard as I possibly could be, without injuring myself, of course. So I hired a friend of mine named Jeff Main to do my strength and conditioning for this fight. Again, one more thing that I have to think about less, and I just show up in the gym. He tells me what to do. We work hard, and he's been getting me in pretty good shape for this fight. Other than that, I've been working with all the same coaches that I usually work with. I've been working with all the guys at Xtreme Couture, Robert Fallis, Eric Nixick, Dennis Davis, Cuy Gonzalez. My boxing coach, Ron Frazier, has been coming in and helping me out as well. All my training partners. We've been picking up the quality of sparring partners that we've been training with for this fight, training with a lot more guys that fight in bigger shows, you know, guys that fight in the UFC, guys that fight in Bellator, guys that have fought in World Series. So I'm getting some good work in for this camp. You know, down at Xtreme Couture, we've been going through a bit of a change. You know, we brought in Robert Fallis, and having him in the gym and just his attitude and his passion for coaching and for the team has been phenomenal for everybody. And not just him, but all the other coaches that we've had now, everyone's just kind of meshing together on a different level now. Everyone's just more team-oriented, team mentality. We're Xtreme Couture, this is us, and you know, either you're a part of it or you're not. And I think it's worked out extremely well as far as the attitude in the gym, the energy. We've been getting a lot of people that were gone for a while to come back. I mean, we have days in there now. There were sparring days, you know, a couple years back where you may get maybe a dozen people that would show up. Now, I mean, we have sparring days. We get 30, close to 40 people sometimes, it seems like. I mean, you're trying to spar when you're running into people all the time. It's an interesting problem to have, but it's a good one because we get a lot of bodies in there and we get a lot of different people to mix it up with. You get a lot of different looks, and I think it's been great, man. They brought me in about a year ago as a strength and conditioning coach. I've been doing my best to just try and help those guys get ready for their fights as much as possible. I'm always trying to help out the amateur guys, help out the pro guys as much as I possibly can, and I love it, man. I think the energy that we got in this gym right now is it's just at an all-time high. It's still going strong. It's going to keep growing, and I can't wait to see what the next couple of years is going to be like. You know, what I'm trying to accomplish with this fight and with a big organization like World Series is, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing I've been trying to accomplish since I got into the sport. I want people to know who I am as a fighter. I want them to know what I bring to the table. And, you know, I bring a certain skill set, I bring a certain intensity, and I could draw a crowd, man. I've proven that time and time again. On World Series, it's just a bigger stage for me to show people. It's just a chance for me to show more people exactly what I can do. You know, my record speaks for itself, you know, and that's not even something I need to brag about. You just look at the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. Went undefeated as an amateur, you know, won titles as an amateur, undefeated as a professional, finished all but 2 of my opponents inside the distance. You know, I'm aggressive. I go after it. I bring a crowd. I excite the crowd, you know, and this is just a chance for me to kind of put that on a bigger stage and get more recognition, because as big as World Series is, there is, of course, another organization out there that's even bigger, and that's the UFC, and that's where I did want to end up from day one. Whether I end up there after this point, it really doesn't matter. You know, I'm going to get to that point as long as I keep working hard and keep winning. Right now, I want to go in and show all the lightweights in World Series that there's a new player here in town. On March 29th at World Series of Fighting, man, people can expect to see a great fight. I'm going to bring everything that I possibly can bring into this fight, and I'm going to be trying to put on my best performance to date, because I know that's exactly what Jimmy Spicuzza is going to be doing. I know he's not coming in and taking this fight lightly. I know there's no way in hell that I would ever do the same thing and take this fight lightly. I'm coming in to win. I'm coming in to put on a show in front of my crowd, because I know he's bringing his own crowd with him, and he's going to be trying to put on a show in front of them. I think the two of us bringing that energy in there and bringing that desire to win and that desire to just be the best that we could possibly be, I think it's going to make for a damn good fight, man. I don't think it's something that people are going to want to miss. And I think being so close to the beginning of the show, we're the second fight of the night, I think we're going to be a tough act to follow for a lot of those guys later in the prelims and later on the main card. I think Jimmy and I are going to go out there and try to set the tone for the rest of the show. And, you know, if we somehow end up being fight of the night, that really wouldn't surprise me at all.